Welcome back to the Ascension Series. I want to talk about being authentic and authenticity today. And I'm going to go about it probably in a really bizarre, true to dime fashion. And today I'm like, my brain is like da 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 all over the place in like hyperactivity. So bear with me here, but I do want to drive home some points about why, how, what is it, why the fuck do I even want to talk about it, right? Like, let's dive into this. Um, My hair is staticky. I'm having a day. And do you want to know why my hair is staticky? Ready? Let's just have a little story time. Let me let you in behind the scenes of my life. Ready for this? Okay. And this is somehow related to being authentic. You're going to laugh your asses off. Ready? Here we go. Okay. Who on YouTube is like, let me show you my behind the scenes fake hair? Like, this is what we're doing. So, this is Veronica. We have named her. This is Veronica. And I'm not sure it's going to be like a mullet when I wear it. It's going to be amazing. Okay. How is this all related? So funny. I was trying to record this earlier and I was like showing it and then I knocked my water over and I'm just having one of those days where I'm like, holy fuck, like let's not be perfect. Okay. Oh, and I got to stop swearing. Apparently, I got flagged on Facebook for swearing too much. Ooh, I try though. And that is again back to the authenticity. So all over, here we go. The highest vibration that someone can offer is the vibration of authenticity. Authenticity. There's a lot of definitions of like what that could be. I'm just going to shoot from my hip here. Authenticity is when you know who you actually really truly are and decide to be that fully in the world. But who you truly are is just a perception of what you were taught to be. And so you get to unravel. Yeah, you're going to be born with some like characteristics or some personality traits or genetics. We're going to debunk that a little bit too, but you're born into a learned condition. Like you're born in this environment that you learn in and evolve in and become. And you become the story of your ancestors. I talk so much about the story of our ancestors and rewriting that in the Embody retreat that I got to do on Friday. Oh, I love you guys. My heart was beaming for, well, still to this day. And this is several days later. So thank you for all of you that were there. It was incredible, incredible few hours with you. But we're talking about breaking the story of our ancestors. And we are all just a perception of what we were taught, what we were told, and what we are expected to be to some degree. Being authentic is for me, for my human experience, was when I've got these quirky, dorky things about me. You guys are seeing this now. Like I'm really bringing all of me forward. I'm not hiding anything about myself anymore. I'm talking openly about starseed energy that used to be only on a public platform, even though the workshops that we do are not public because I just don't care to have the low vibe comments. And I really care about who participates because it creates an energy and I want us all to come together and share energy. And I don't want jackasses or dumbasses there. So we make it private. I think the next one's on February 7th. So I've been talking a lot more about that instead of hiding it. I've been, not that I was hiding it, but it just, I didn't, what was I doing? Maybe hiding it. I don't know, being uncomfortable about it, choosing not to share it because I didn't want it to impact all of the other stuff that I teach because I'm not some fluffy bullshit. I'm Palladian, like fuck that noise. I'm not, that's not my style. So it's like I don't want the fluff that is associated with these labels, these niche labels of like starseed or light worker or whatever. I don't want the bullshit fluff attached to that. And so it's taken me a little while to find my voice in how do I bring this information forward. So I just choose the words galactic ambassador. I feel like I'm on a fucking mission from some other planet and I'm here in this body doing shit. Anyways, right? All over the place today, as per usual, but extra, extra today. So you get to choose who you want to be. Who is it that you desire to be in the world? You get to play with that. You get to choose that. You don't have to be the story you were told. If I stayed as the story that I was told from a very young age that I was stupid, that I was never going to make it in the world. I'm fucking global. I'm fucking diamond no. Like, oh, I have to stop swearing. Ugh, trying so hard. Um, like I don't care. I'm I I'm anchored. I am very proud of what we do in this world. But I was told I was stupid. I would never make it. I was told to marry the first man that came along, make babies, and just settle for that life, which unfortunately I did do at 18. Don't do that. Did it. Love my babies though. So that's cool. Um, I was told that I was a piece of shit. I was told I was ugly. I was told that I was useless and worthless and all of these things. I was like, you guys know the story, right? Like, we've all been told very limiting things about ourselves. That's not who you are. And you can drop all of that. You can drop the story of I'm not worthy. You can just be like, oh, there it is. I don't need that anymore and carry on and tell a new story. You can literally do that. You can drop the story of lack. You can drop the story of lonely. These are perceptions. This is triggering. Ready? Stop holding yourself back by being like, I'm broke. I'm lonely. I'm who am I to do this in the world? I don't have enough credentials. I don't have a stop. That's just a story. Who you are is divine, beautiful vibration walking around in a skeleton covered in meat with its innards filled in poo. Like we're just walking poo meat suit. Like it's kind of gross when you really think about it, but cool at the same time. I don't know. But here we are. You get to choose everything that you want to be. You do not have to be attached to the story that you were offered when you were young or that yesterday self or yesterday self was saying. I have so many thoughts happening in my head at once. I am trying to keep this straight. And this is probably why I need a flip chart to work through these things. So who do you desire to be? You get to be all of that. Being fully authentic in my journey. So I'm actually going to start a series. I've been really sitting with it and I just think there's a lot of value in it. So I did 100 days of surrender last year when I went through some like, I got to rip some shit apart and restructure stuff for myself, right? I went through a lot and that was probably the most transformative thing that I've ever done. And now I look back on it and I kind of giggle and I'm like, oh, I know so much more now. But I'm glad that I went through that 100 days of surrender. So I did a whole series and it's just gotten a lot of pickup again. I'm getting a lot of comments and a lot of love letters and emails about it. Don't go watch it. It's so cringy. Just stick here. Let's not go backwards, please. Okay. So because of that, I've been really thinking about starting a series on advice to my yesterday self, but like going on this journey with you. Like, I want to do it with you. I want you to do it with me. Like, I want to do it together where we start at an age and we just move through what would be the advice, knowing what we know now, being on the other side of, the awakening process. There is no end to it. It's just I've arrived at my highest timeline. Now I get to recreate my highest timeline. So, advice to all the versions of me desperately wanting the love that I have now, the house that I have now, the relationship I have with my children's now, the love I have for my meat suit. Like, I love this damn thing. And she's not at all what society says she should be, right? So, I want to start that series. So if you're interested in doing it alongside me, I think I'm going to get like homework and like all kinds of fun things, but let me know your thoughts. But a journey towards the most fully authentic, liberated life is what I want to do for you, with you. Plus, I also need to get clear on like what's next for me. I'm living my highest timeline and I have not taken the time to stop and think about what is the desired vision? What's next? And without a vision, you're not going to put anything into motion. You're just going to be receiving your vibration. But I'm extra. I like extra. Okay, let's go back to authenticity. So, what is being fully authentic? I think that for myself, it is fully loving all of the things, like actually really loving all of the things, really falling in love with all of the things and expressing yourself in a way that doesn't matter. There's a quote that hit me years and years and years ago that said, in a society that profits off of self-loathing, loving your act is an act of rebellion. And that was my like, I'm gonna be badass. I'm gonna be 45-year-old mummy badass. My daughter all the time. I was wearing this shirt the other day. So I was wearing like leather pants and like big Doc Martens and a leather jacket. And then I had this like tunic shirt kind of thing on that said like love, peace, and inspiration or something. Like, I don't know. It's just a comfortable shirt. And she was like, you're so confusing right now. Like you are so confusing. It's like you're this badass bitch, but you're also like a grandma. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm being authentic. It is stylish and comfortable. Thank you very much. And she's like, you know. So for me, can you fall in love with all of the quirky, unique things that are you? I used to say, and maybe you can relate, a long time ago, I used to say, I wanted a partner. So, you have that one best friend that you can be. Ladies will probably get this more than guys will because I think we're a little bit different. I don't have a dick, so I don't really know how they work, but like the brain attached to the dick, I only know the vagina brain combination. So here I am. And I know women, we come together and you have that like one best friend that you're like completely ridiculous with, like all of you with, like you invoke laughter together. You purposely, intentionally pursue reasons to laugh, right? And in that comes your wild sense of humor, your raw sense of humor, your like sense of humor, the way you look at the world, your sassiness, your bitchiness, your all of the things, just all on display for each other, with each other, for the most heightened state of laughter and connection. And I used to say to that friend, I want a man or a woman, a partner, a romantic partner that I get to do that with. And that's sort of when it clicked on the combination of loving yourself in a society that profits off of self loathing as an act of rebellion. And this person gets all of me. Why don't I give that into an intimate relationship? And that's when I began my journey on the search of who is the most authentic version of Dime. And so here I am at 45, fully authentic and slowly bringing pieces of that version of me to the world here on YouTube and the other platforms that these podcasts are on. So it's not at all being what I was told to be. Fuck you. I'm going to swear for that one. No, you don't get to tell me. Nobody gets to tell me what I need to or should be. Nobody gets to tell me, except for Facebook prison, that I can't swear. Nobody gets to tell me that having short hair or half a bald head for the time I did, that that's not feminine. Not playing your game. Nobody gets to tell me, oh, but if you lost weight. No, you don't get to tell me that. Nobody gets to tell me that I have too many tattoos because there's a lot of tattoos. Nobody gets to tell me that the way I see the world and my quirky curiosity is ADHD. You don't get to tell me that. Nobody gets to tell me that what I find funny, you give me a good dad joke, I will almost piss my pants. I will snort laugh. When you laugh and you snort, I will snort laugh over dad jokes. They're that glorious to me. The best one I ever saw in real life, I was driving with my partner. I'm going to start laughing. And you guys are going to be like, this is ridiculous, Dime, but this is what makes my heart happy. Driving. I'm in the middle of like way up north in Ontario. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's these little villages. It's not even fucking towns. And we're driving through, and I look up and there's the barber spinning pole thing, for the barber shop. And I was like, oh, cute. I haven't seen one of those since like I was a little kid in downtown Toronto. Like, whoa, neat. So it's spinning, and I read the name of it, and it was Anita Haircut. Her name was Anita, and she called it Anita Haircut. And I died laughing for quite some time. And still to this day, 2 years later, Corey will look at me and go, Anita. And I'll be like it just murdered. Like I just loved it. Um, that's my authenticity. Like I'm that easily humored sometimes. Um, I'm deep. I'm wild. I'm crazy. I'm passionate. I can be bitchy. Being authentic is being all versions of my soul isness. I hate the word soul, but that's a different day. My isness, the consciousness that I am, the universal flow that I am, combined with the ego self that I am. So the only part of the series, probably in this particular episode, that is actually related to the ascension process, but here we are, is the fact that your ego is part of you. Why would you deny it? Why would you shun it? It's so funny to me that you'll hear, you know, certain modern day wannabe prophets out there with their books and their whatever on stage. And they'll be like, anger is part of you. You can't shun it, learn to love it and accept it. But your ego is bad. That needs ego death. You're stupid. Stop. I will scream this from the rooftops for the rest of my life. And I know the world is starting to actually get this. Your ego is the operating mechanism that has preference. Your ego is your imagination. It's responsible for your imagination. It's responsible for the thoughts that you put into motion because your thoughts are what's creating your reality. There's 5 stepping stones in the creation process. Your thought creates an emotion, which is the frequency, which is the perception, which is the outcome. That is how you create reality, is based on your thoughts, and your thoughts stem from your belief structure. So if you believe to be the story that your ancestors wanted you to, or your caregivers wanted you to, or society, fuck that noise, wants you to, you're going to put that into motion. You're constantly going to struggle with what is the fullest authentic version of myself. Now, if you go, this little operating mechanism, my ego self, has permission to daydream, to find humor over a need a haircut, to have desires, to express itself in the physical in any way that it desires to, you are going to move into your most authentic version with absolute ease. And here's the crazy cool part. One more time. Ready? You get to choose who you want to be. There's no rules. There's no rules that says you can't. There is stories of our ancestors. There's story of society that says, you can't. Watch me. Watch me. You can't tell me I can't. Because the moment you tell me, is anybody else like this? Hit me in the comments. Anybody else? If you tell me I can't, I will times 10, which in reverse psychology sucks ass if somebody knows that and they're like, oh, you couldn't possibly. And I'll be like, yeah, well, here I go. But really, overall, tell me I can't and I will. I will do it just to prove you wrong. I am not going to be small. I desire to experience everything that my ego desires to experience. My ego is creating my perception. My ego is creating my preferences. My ego is creating the way I laugh, the way I cry, the way I express myself. It has its own unique, beautiful thing. And I want every single human on this planet to understand that it has permission to be anything that it wants. You can choose who you desire to put into this world. You can choose how you are perceived 100%. For the ladies in the group, or the makeup wearers in the group, or the identifying ladies that wear makeup in the group, or the boys or the theys or the gays that wear makeup in this group, let's just take it all back and sum it back up to the makeup wearers. Here's an example. If I put on makeup and I go to the grocery store, I don't give a second thought about anything. I'm just like, all right, I'm at the grocery store. Cool. What's on my list? If I go to the grocery store with 0 makeup on, yep, nobody's perfect, guys. If I go to this store without makeup on, once or twice, it's going to be in my head. Oh, I probably look really tired. It's just part of my conditioning. I'm not saying that being authentic is, nobody's perfect. Okay. We all have our own shit. So don't judge me for feeling the fear of like, oh, I probably look really tired in the grocery store. I am a human. I have normal, stupid ass things that go through my mind. That's one of them. But that is a prime example of how your perception, how you are perceived by others, or your, let me take that back too. It is an example of how you think people may perceive you impacts who you are in the moment. That goes for a lot of things, a lot of things. I am covered in ink, okay? Covered. Like, I forget that I have it all the time. I live in Canada. We're super accepting for the majority. Like, it's awesome. Nobody thinks about it. Old people love my tattoos. They're like, oh my God. They call it ink. It's so cute. They're like, I love your ink. What does this one mean? And I'm like, I don't have 5 hours to explain, but thank you. Have a great day. But when I travel, especially in Central America, I get stopped at the airport every single time. Every single time. Because what happens in my head when I go through the airport in those countries where tattoos are not really okay, especially on women, is, oh shit, they're going to stop me. They're going to notice my tattoos. Damn it. I'm going to have to go through security. And it happens every time. And my luggage has to, all the things, because apparently tattoos mean drugs or whatever. I don't know. I'm smuggling in like small children. I don't know what I'm doing. What do they think I'm actually doing? But anyway, there is a judgment. So I realized that my fear of how I was being perceived in that moment was creating that reality, and I changed it. So now when I go through the airport, I hold my head up, all my tattoos are on display, and I'm like, and I start to speak like either Spanish or whatever. And the little bit that I know, because I don't know very much, but I just connect. I'm just like, you're human. I'm a human. How's your day, man? Like, how's it going? And I don't get stopped anymore because in that little tweak of, oh, there's going to be a perception that maybe I need to control. In the little tweak at the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, maybe put my sunglasses back on. Or if I have bedhead and I haven't done my hair, I have natural curly hair. It's super short. It'll stick straight out. Like if I don't do it, it is like a squirrel's nest on my head. It's like 4 squirrels that have just finished fucking and are completely exhausted and just taking that like, oh, I need to catch my breath on my head. So I'm going to have these like moments of thought where I'm like, people are going to perceive this, therefore they're going to think. And so therefore I get, ooh, and then my energy changes. And then I receive the comments. Whereas if I just own it and I'm just authentic in it and I don't care, I don't get those comments. So, how does this relate to being authentic? You have permission to own your perception of self. You get to do whatever you want. You get to demonstrate your body in any fashion that you want. You can do anything you want. It started with Veronica this morning when I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. And one of the comments was, why would you change your hair? Like, you've got so much beautiful silver and it's so mature and it's so authentic and so organic. And I'm just like, that's your lens. It's your lens. My lens is, I don't have to be the same thing every day. My lens is, I don't have to have bare skin. I can have ink. My lens is, I'm 45. I don't have to dress 90. But if I want to, I will. Hence my tunic that my daughter judges. My perception is, in this moment, this is my desired experience. And if I perceive it as my desired experience, I will have my desired experience. And I'm not going to notice what anybody else thinks or care what anybody else thinks. But it's a journey to arrive there. I had to learn to fall in love with, I had body dysmorphia. Oh, so hard. Oh my gosh, you guys. I was really, really, really underweight as a child. There's some big neglect there. And then I was like seriously underweight, like concerning when I look back at pictures. Then I was excessively overweight when I had cancer. That was super fun. Experienced cancer, didn't have experienced. Let me change my verbiage. And I've been everything in between. And it didn't matter what size my body was. The amount of dysmorphia that I had was like, it was so hard for me to go in public half the time. I had to learn to fall in love with my body. I had to learn to fall in love with the experience of dyslexia, the fact that my words shift all over the place and that I use the wrong word half the time. I don't care. And that I say them backwards and that I get them and I get tongue tied like crazy. I had to learn to fall in love with the experience of ADHD and the fact that there's a squirrel moment in every other moment. And I'm like, what? All the time. I had to learn to fall in love with the depths of my being and the fact that I have these crazy out of world body experiences or out of body experiences. Wow. See, there it is right there. I had to fall in love with all that. I had to fall in love with the fact that in my meditation, really strange things would come through and I had to own it. I had to fall in love with my spicy and be okay and comfortable because the moment that I chose to honor it and allow it to be presented was the moment that I really truly stepped into my highest timeline. It was one step at a time. It just kept morphing and morphing and morphing. And so there's a really big tool for this on how to do it, right? Well, it's work. You got to go in and you got to do the deep work. You got to do that trauma healing. You've got to do that perception rewrite. You got to figure out what is the story that you were told that you think you have to be. What is the perception that you fear receiving from others? And then you got to heal that. You got to change that story. And that is mind power and that is choice. You have to choose to do that. When you do that, you can then begin to build confidence through confirmation. So you're going to explore, you're going to put your toe in the water. You're not going to like, I didn't go from no tattoos and very modest like Jehovah's Witness. Like I had to look like a Jehovah's Witness all the time because that's what I was when I was a teen. I didn't go from that to the tattooed, wearing spacers in my ears, F bomb dropping, spicy, loving, compassionate creature that I am now. It didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual evolution of my unfolding. So you go into, how do I build confidence through confirmation? So you put your toe in the water and you try it out. So I got my first tattoo and I put it in a spot where no one would see it. And then I got my next one and then my next one. I'm not saying go get inked. I'm just saying find your way, play with the things, start gradual. It doesn't have to be from one thing right to the other, because your ego isn't going to sustain the confidence. And that's where we fail on so many things. If you are not graduating your ego self, your fear self, into the process of, we're safe, we're good, it's okay, keep going, keep going, keep going, and you just rip the band-aid and you jump in, you're going to crash and burn, because you won't be able to sustain that level of being, because it's just, your ego's not ready. You have to train it. You have to love it through this process. So how do you get confirmation? You begin to experience, you begin to experiment with, how do I want to share these little pieces of myself and see how they're received? But first, please go heal the desire to be judged, because we probably have that as well, right? I feel like I'm all over the map with this, and there's a lot of like planes going over right now. So my brain's like, whoa, distracted. But hopefully this is resonating with you. Please let me know if this is resonating with you. Confirmation brings confidence, right? That's what we're talking about. So thank you. I love you. So can you just play a little bit? There's this little technique that I teach our students called the mask technique. And it's a really silly, stupid story. But as a kid, I was a high introvert. I was terrified of the world. Please don't make eye contact with me. My soul will die. Like, I just could not. Don't make eye contact with me. Don't hear me breathing too loud. Like, don't, oh my God, just please don't see me, because I am not ready and I'm not capable of that. It was intense. Now I'm the exact opposite. But I was terrified. And I had this one friend who was just like, we were kind of like the losers, if you want to give labels, but in my perception, we were like real not cool. We were like, in high school trying to navigate the beginning of high school, the very beginning, like, oh my God, please erase all photographs of that. Here we are. But the beginning of high school, I was awkward, terrified, no confidence, no nothing. And I had this friend who was like, kind of on the same page, but she'd just walk around and be like, "Hi, friends, how are you today?" Da, da, da. And would talk to anybody in this, like, I was like, what the hell? Like, we're not cool. What are you doing? But you can't talk to them. They're better than us. That kind of vibe, right? And then I started thinking, oh, wait, I'm just going to wear her mask. I'm just going to pretend to be her for a day. I went a whole day and I was like, just be her. Just like, huh, here I go. And like, you want to vomit or shit yourself and your heart is pounding and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, this is so nerve wracking. Just wear the mask, just wear the mask, just wear the mask. And so I wore her mask until I was like, oh, confirmation that I can be confident with that. And so then I kept evolving and I kept experimenting. And then the person that was me behind closed doors eventually started to come forward. And I dropped the insecurities and I dropped the desire to be small and I let it all go. And I moved into who I choose to be now. So, what mask do you want to wear? Do you want more confidence? Do you want more determination? Do you want more fierceness? Do you want more authoritative energy? Do you want more passionate energy? Do you want to just be seen? Do you want to, like, what do you desire to experience? Where in your life is there someone that reflects that? Can you wear their mask and pretend to see? Just try it on. If you tell your ego self, we're just trying on a costume, it's okay, everything's going to be fine, then your ego will get to experience that opportunity or that way and that emotion and that vibration and all of that in ease without going into, we can't, because it's going to want to go into the story that you've been told. So when you kind of take all that out of the equation and you put this mask on, it gives you absolute ease to play. So you're just playing a role now. And then the ego will shut up and calm down and be like, okay, that wasn't so bad. And then that's going to bring that confirmation that it wasn't so bad, is going to bring confidence for you to try it again and again and again. And then you get to play with it and morph it. You don't have to stay small. You don't have to stay in lack of self worth. You don't have to stay in judging your body and your aging or your weight or your whatever. You don't have to stay anything. You don't even have to identify as human if you don't want to. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. You have freedom. That's why you're here. So I desired that for you. And it's funny how Veronica, a little hair extension thing, it's going to look like a mullet in my hair, but am I going to do it? Probably. I kind of want to do it with you here, but like I need a mirror. So anyway, probably going to play with it because it's just how I get to express myself. If I wanted to go have plastic surgery, cool, go do it. I used to have Botox. And you know, the first comment when people find out to be like, oh, I don't have it now. Obviously, look, not there. My eyebrows are like, oh, all over. But I did for a long time because I just wanted to prevent the aging process. Don't give me comments on what Botox does. Nobody gives a fuck. They're making their own decisions. Let them make their own decisions. But the first comment I always got, I would get, wow, your skin is so great for 40 something. And I'd laugh and I'd be like, yeah, no, it's Botox. And they'd be like, oh no, like I can't believe. And then a whole conversation would break out in a group of people about how pretentious it is or unnecessary it is. And I'm like, why though? Like you're choosing to wear your hair the way you're choosing to dress in the clothes you're choosing. I don't have an opinion about that. Why don't you just have an opinion about you and not about me? Like, stop. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what you desire to do. You have that right. And if it makes you feel amazing, then do it. You see all these teeny boppies out there with like teeny boppies, teeny boppers. Is that aged me, didn't it? That just really aged me. Yep, did that. Okay. So you see all of these youthful people out there with eyelashes the size of like butterfly wings going on. I'm like, all right, you do you. If that's what feels great, do it. Do what makes you feel good for you. If you're doing it because you think that's what you have to do in order to attain a story of what we should or should not be, or what beauty is or is not, then I suggest you kind of have a look in the mirror. I think that maybe you need to heal something. Need's not the right word, but it would do you well to heal that. That's not authentic. So, what's authentic is I love the perception I have of me. I love the way I see myself. I love the way I see my body, my mind, my spirit, my laughter, my humor, my saucy, spicy, my passion, whatever. These are the things that I have worked to develop within myself. I love them. That's authentic. Because when you love them, you're just going to share that with the world. That's authentic. But if you are trying to fit the story of what you were told to be, or what society thinks you should be, or whatever thinks you should be, and you're trying to be that story, then you're trying to be something and you're not allowing what you have naturally developed to shine through. Because when you fall in love with every little piece of yourself, you won't hold back any of it, none of it. So being authentic for me in this moment, because I haven't really thought this through. I just turned on the mic and I was like, let's talk about authenticity and see what comes out of my mouth. And we can both be surprised. But in this moment, I feel within me, everything that I love and have nurtured about me is what I can't hold back. And that's truly who I've chosen to be. And to me, that's authentic. That's full authenticity, not holding back. I'm raw. I'm completely imperfect. I love that I'm imperfect. I love it. God, pressure off the shoulders. I don't have to strive and attain anything. That's good news for me. I really like that. And I think that, when we look at, or I believe that when we look at it from that lens, it makes it a lot easier to let go of the things that we've been trying so hard to be for others or for our workplace or whatever, right? So there it is. Blip, 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 my all over the map today, long winded, authentic. Blah. Here we go. Trying to, I don't even know. I'm just being me, guys. So I don't know. What do you want to be? Like, I want that for you. You really, truly get to be whatever you want. So go be that. Go practice. Go put on the mask. Go try it out. Go experiment with it and see if you can get confident with it. And then start to ask yourself, am I being the story of what was? Or am I being the story of what I choose? Like, I don't want to be the story of my ancestors. They clearly got it wrong, really wrong. Not like saying they're wrong, but I don't think they were living their highest timeline. And I want that for the world. So, you know, I don't want to be small. I don't want you to be small. So let's go kick asses. Let's go look in the mirror and be like, all right, this is what I'm going to try on. So let me know in the comments, what are you going to go try on? What is it that you want to nurture within yourself? Like a little seedling, what are you going to nurture and grow so that you can become confident with that? Is it more confidence? Is it more love? Is it more spicy? What is it? I'd love to know. Maybe you'll get me and I'll be like, oh, I'd love to try that too. We can do it together. All right. I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks for joining. Please continue to look in the mirror and look for a million reasons to say thank you. I love you. Bye, guys.